Trev, we haven't even talked Cardinals, dog.
Okay. This was like the biggest thing we want to talk about.
This is like
today,
the
actually.
topic of baseball.
It's the title of the episode.
Where are we going to start?
How about this? I'll tee you up the best I can. So if you don't know, the Cardinals are the worst team in the National League.
Are they really like the worst team?
They are the worst team in the National League, Trev. It's May 8th. They are 11-24. The Reds and Rockies both have 14 wins. So do the Nats. That's how bad it's been in St. Louis. We've questioned Marmol, and there's a Tyler O'Neill benching, and the pitching staff. They're not getting any pitching.
It started in spring training with Marmol, him and CB Buckner.
The standoff.
A weird feud. Like, why do you have a feud?
Felt like a lot of Buckner there. But anyways, Trev, we are friendly with Katie Wu, who writes for The Athletic. The other thing that came out, Wilson Contreras, their prize piece, and like, oh, good signing, comes over from the Cubs, and, he's going to catch for them, and some of the early catching advanced numbers have been great. They come out and they say, you're not catching. We're over it. And they call up another catcher. They call up Trace Barea. And he's the locker next to Wilson, and he's kind of stunned. He's like, what? And then they come back and they're like, well, actually, we might need some Wilson Contreras at catch, but not for now. And the whole thing is as dumpster fiery as a dumpster fire can get. They have depth and a lot of bodies, which when you're winning is awesome. When you're losing, it's a disaster. That I thought they were going to start coming out of the tailspin. That, another like losing streak, and it's as bad as it gets.
So, look, there's so many ways we can go. You mentioned all the things that have gone on, and it's May 8th, people. And we're talking about a slew of, I'm not calling them, they're not scandals, but a slew of interruptions in a baseball season for a team, an organization that's famously like tight clubhouse, culture is everything, Cardinals way. This has been the exact opposite of it. Holy, we talked about Buckner and Marmol. Like, there's no I know like CB didn't want to shake his hand, but then afterwards Marmol went on and called him like a bad human being or something like that. Check the quotes on that one, Beavers, for me, if you can get Marmol's quote about Buckner. That one kind of hit me the wrong way to begin the season, but you know what? Sometimes you get mad at an umpire. Okay. Then we have the Tyler O'Neill situation, which I thought was handled horrendously, like so bad. And I talked to Katie Wu about that. We kind of were aligned where we thought the doubling down of Marmol, coming back and talking more about Tyler O'Neill the next day was not a good look. And then we have this Contreras situation now where it seems like he's like kind of scapegoatish right now.
Right?
Right?
Yes.
Like, the pitching has been bad. Like, bullpen, starters, like, it just has not been there at all. 28th in whip for your starters, 22nd in whip for your relievers. 2-strike homers have been coming at an alarming rate. They haven't been able to put people away. And from what I'm gathering, they're saying it's a feeling. They're uncomfortable pitching to Contreras, and they want some familiarity back there. But at what point do you just have to execute your pitches? At what point, do the pitchers have to say, like, dude, this is on us. It ain't about Contreras. It sounds to me, and I'm not in the clubhouse, and I haven't even spoken to Flaherty about this at all. I don't want to, because I feel like it's like, they're handling it, whatever. It sounds to me like some pitchers probably went to the pitching coach and said something. That's what will get something like this done. I don't think the front office steps in and says, we're going to make this change, unless pitchers went and said something. Do you agree with that? I mean, I know you haven't been in the clubhouse. In my, experience in a clubhouse, sorry, bro.
Okay.
I didn't mean that like that.
Fine.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a move like this happens because pitchers go and say something. And it's Yadi Molina. No one's going to replace this guy, dude. It's going to be different. Wilson Contreras didn't go to the WBC so he could stay in spring training and learn the pitching staff and get familiar with them. By some defensive metrics, he's actually been playing pretty good there, but they're not comfortable throwing to him.
Trev.
Or hear me out. You're just not executing.
Trev, a couple things. You mentioned that, the pitchers and players would have to kind of enact this for the front office to get involved. Why is Oli Marmol the manager?
What do you mean?
They pushed out the Dwight Schrute-looking guy. They pushed out Schilt because they basically said, we want Marmol, right? Like, that's how that goes down with all the veteran leadership in that clubhouse. So we know the players have a voice to a certain extent. So I think you're absolutely right on that. And Trev, I mentioned when you mentioned that the Marlins are average, and I can't argue against you. I don't have any data points. That tweet that was going around, and it's been going around, that Cardinals pitchers have given up 21 or 23 two-strike homers. That, again, I need more of the comparison. Like, what are the other teams at? I know it's number 1 in baseball, but I don't know if number 2 is like 12. That's not a stat I keep track of regularly. But what you noted, that if I was legal Jake and we were in the court, I would back your ass on, Wilson Contreras ain't thrown one of those pitches. He hasn't thrown one of those two-strike pitches that have been hit for a homer. So I don't care if you like the call or not. You don't have to give up a home run. That, yeah, man, it feels like you made a 5-year investment for a guy that you thought was going to catch a lot at least the first 2 years, and then maybe there's some DH, catcher, left field. We've seen this with a lot of good hitting catchers, right? Your guy,
Goldie's contract expires.
First base could open. Joe Mauer did some of that for you guys. It feels like a month in, they're making another panic move.
Oh, it reeks of desperation because, this is clearly a desperate time for them.
Don't say reeks.
And it's tough for me, man. Like, I'm putting myself in Contreras' shoes. And, again, we don't know what's going on necessarily in the clubhouse. Like, we can be totally off about this. This is just us speculating. I feel like I'm on it. First, they said we're going to use him in the outfield. He started practicing in the outfield. What do the Cardinals have in spades? Outfielders. What are we doing? And then a day later, actually, he won't be playing any outfield. He's going to be our DH. And I know Contreras went to him and said, I'd rather just be DH than outfield. It doesn't make sense. And he's like, am I the only one noticing that we have all these outfielders? Why are you putting me in the outfield? But it's a mess. And this is the Cardinals don't operate that way, dude. And then for some reason this year, they're the messiest team in the big leagues. No. And is it all because Yachty's not there? Holy shit. Bring him back on the coaching staff right now. Instead of punting on your $87 million man a month into the season, just go hire Yachty and say, dude, we'll pay you whatever you want. Come back and help.
Honestly, that sounds so logical in our heads that I wonder, a conversation around that has had to happen, right?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Can I say something?
Please.
Remember I said something about Marmol? I went and got the quote. I'm sure you got it too, Beavers, but I found it. And I quote, he has zero class as a man. What?
That's just not something you say publicly.
No. For what reason? Hey, guess what? CB is going to umpire some of your games.
And
paths will cross.
Isn't CB Buckner a Marine or a Navy guy or something? Or did I dream that?
I don't know. That's just not something you say, bro. Those are fighting words. If someone came up to me and said, you have zero class as a man, I'd want to fight him. That's about as low as a freaking diss as you can get.
Yeah, you don't.
Zero class as a man? And let me tell you about CB. You might not like him as an umpire, but dude, Kind of a nice guy.
Yeah, and I'm confusing him with someone else. He wasn't military, but I mean, interesting story. Born in Jamaica. That's a sentence you don't say.
I didn't like his smirk when I got out there, and then he questioned my time in the league, so I returned the favor and questioned his time in the league. That was the back and forth when CB was like, "You just got here," and you know what? CB is telling the truth.
He does work with the youth club in Brooklyn. Like, hey man, maybe don't. He organizes an annual treat day and for 300 kids in Jamaica. So like, I don't know, man.
Zero.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Dude, I don't.
It's weird.
Say I don't like him.
How about this, Trev? We don't know everything and we never will. But there's now a laundry list of items with Marmol that's like, what the hell, man? Trev,
You're trying to prove too much, bro. Just like, you got the job, man.